Canchin imi hara traston tan Canchin imi hara traston agus Stephen Sean Curran adam Sean Curran
na lábhí tapig a rééis díreach lábhaige sin an difríoch níl sé freibós a chórnhain mar sin sé díreach lábhaige tá amige casa timpeall agus é.
Tipperary started the match in sparkling fashion. They've dominated at the finish as well. In between, Clare had their moments. Tipperary unbeaten in the Alliance League at the top, and it finished at the Semple Stadium. Tipperary 28 points, Clare 21.
Satisfied with that, top of the table, and a fairly good win today.
Yeah, look, I thought it was a really good match, considering the conditions. You know, at one stage during the first half, the rain really came down, and it made conditions very difficult for both sides, but I thought it was a really good game.
At the start of the second half, Tipperary seemed to go away from us, and we got it back to 3 points with about 5 or 6 minutes to go. I think they just tacked on 3 or 4 points in the last 3 or 4 minutes. But ultimately, outside of the first 15 minutes, we'll be very happy with the performance our guys gave today.
Well, it might have been a good day for Clare's footballers, but no such joy for the hurlers. Tip, I think you'd have to say, the better team on the day. It's fascinating, Henry, to look at Tip this year for us all, because remember the last time they won the All-Ireland 6 or 7 years ago, and everybody thought this team was going to dominate the scene, and of course didn't. So we want to see now what Tip do in 2017.
Yeah, and I think that started last September. You know, they were talking about next year already at an early stage. I think they've learned an awful lot of lessons from the last time this happened. And, you know, we were looking at the Dublin footballers in the previous part of the show, and Tip reminded me of that. Their strength and depth. No Bonner Maher today, no Seamus Callinan, no James Barry, Darren Gleeson.
Yes.
And the players they can bring into the thing. They're building a massive panel, and Anthony's going to do a package on some of the new players that have come in. But as well as that, they're the highest scoring team in the division. They're averaging 25 points per game, and they have oceans of talented players. But I do go back to the point, I think they're very focused. I think the experience of, which is 7 years ago at this stage, is definitely standing. So they really have set out a stall. They do want to make a mark this year and try do back-to-back. And they've started the league very, very well, and it makes for a very interesting game next weekend.
Oh, it certainly does. He mentioned some of the players, that the size of the panel. You've been looking at that?
Absolutely, Michael. I mean, it's getting scary for everybody else, the depth that's there. You know, Stephen O'Brien, an awful lot of people said last year that he should be playing football. You know, he came from a football sort of underage background, but he didn't get a look in last year, but they're starting to, you know, expose him now to the big games. And I was impressed with him in Walsh Park a couple of weeks ago, but really today, 3 from play, you know, strong running, very athletic, looks to be at home there and will be strong contender. Again today, a player of the quality of James Barry cries off today. Paddy Maher comes in, Tozzie Hamill comes in full back, Aaron Shanahan, man of the match for Clare against Kilkenny. He handled him very solidly all day long, like, you know, and he's a handful. And even, you know, Carl Malone goes in, high balls, he did everything steady, and he's not a regular like for them. He might be making a 26 last year, but be tidy that he was making it. So, like, they have an awful lot of options. Like, to be in Walsh Park a couple of weeks ago and see them bring the 5 subs they brought on, regulars, and leave Ronan Maher sitting down, that's scary for everybody else.
Sure. Look, I mean, from Clare's point of view, and I'm not taking away from Tip's win, Henry, but looking at the closing stage of that game today, for me, like, Tip seemed to be just taking pot shots, you know, unopposed, if you like. You were looking at the Clare tactics. Yeah,
no, I thought Clare started very poor, but as well as that, after that, they kind of very much withdraw. I don't know, was it because they were under so much pressure? But you see, they're playing with the storm elements in the first half, and they just get this ball. You see Podge Collins is out the field. But just the point here is that there's the Tip half-back line, the 3 of them inside their 65, and then there's 3 Tip defenders there with 2 Clare forwards. So in the law of averages, every time Tip are going to sweep up that ball, and Tip are the time to pick up, they got to score from that. Contrast this with Tipperary's forward play. Noel McGrath gets the ball.